Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Hope I get away with it. Oh, da doo-dah day.
Good evening and welcome to Stupid O'Clock. I thought Joe was going to start the show, so
I was wondering who was going to start it because he took me down, and then at 8:00, and I'm like the only one in here without Ox.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sitting there watching, and I'm like, what happened?
Well, what happened? I told you, John, you got the con.
I must have missed it. I left. No, I hit the wrong button and left StreamYard, and then had to come back on StreamYard, and then I saw Donna's post.
Yeah.
Okay, you bring him up then.
All right. I'm sitting here trying. I could not find my list or my file to recreate this.
Yeah.
So I'm having to make a whole new one.
You need to back that up on 2 or 3 computers and your phone. So
Google Drive.
Well,
hey Zach, how you doing?
I got ice cream. I'm good.
Well, I mean, you're
well,
obviously.
at least somebody does.
I have ice cream downstairs. It's not in an ice cream mood at the moment.
Yeah. So I'm gonna. You guys talk away. I'll be here listening. I'm trying to get this done because.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So have you heard about this new habitat that they've added to the International Space Station? It's called Starliner. It's apparently it's just they attached it to a docking ring. It's going to stay there forever.
I'm using that in my next article when they extend its stay again.
Now, when is it actually? What is the date now that it's supposed to come home? Is it still 2024?
Yeah, it's still 2020. I want to say it's the 24th, 28th.
I heard 26 somewhere.
26, yeah, somewhere in there. The biggest issue is they only have a landing opportunity every 4 days.
What's the Vegas odds on it being stuck up there for even longer? What's the over/under bet?
Bet that it is. Not financial advice, but yes. I'll put it this way. I have never heard a NASA official say, yeah, we want to leave it up there a little longer to convince ourselves it's ready to come home. Yeah, they use the word convince in a NASA briefing.
So what, they're going to wait a couple weeks, make sure it doesn't burst into flames? And, it's...
Get it back while there's still some new left on it.
Now, I was reading a news broadcast about it the other day, and they were talking about how helium is the lightest element there is. Okay. And apparently it is I didn't realize this, it is very hard to seal helium because the molecule itself is easy to get out or is it no, it's an atom. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, the helium atom is twice the size of hydrogen, and hydrogen is the smallest atom there is.
Okay, and it's easy for helium atoms to get past seals because we can't make a non-permeable seal that can stop helium. I guess is the best way to put it. So, because it can squeeze right past whatever you make the seal out of.
Yeah. Like the Mylar balloons, they eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's what they're waiting on, it for to run out of helium and just fall out.
So it can come down.
Yeah.
Undock is currently scheduled for 10:10 p.m. Eastern on June 25th, with land landing at 4:51 a.m. on June 26th in White Sands, New Mexico.
Okay.
And I think I just choked up Joe for a second, waiting for it to run out of helium so it'll come down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
9,900 balloons. Okay. Anyway,
well, I'm gonna tell you, the illiterate people at NASA live by unwritten rules.
this is the problem. See, all the old school NASA folks have retired, so they got the new school NASA folks, and most of them play D&D. So whenever they're trying to figure out when to bring a spaceship home, they're rolling dice.
Yeah, they say right now it's got, with the manifolds closed, it has 70 hours worth of helium left, and it only needs 7 to come home. So they say they have enough margin that, if they detach, something happens, or the weather deteriorates, they can stay in orbit for a couple of days and still have enough helium to slow down to come home. So we'll see. I mean, supposedly the crew, and I quote, love the vehicle. What else they're going to say when they're on the space station and have to say that to be able to come home, I don't know. But
I just wonder if they poked their head over into Crew Dragon yet.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't one of them supposed to? Oh no, it went. Sorry, no, it went the other way. The ones that were supposed to fly on Starliner are flying on Dragon.
Okay. Next question: do you know anything about new EVA suits for the ISS? Are they just going to try and use the same EVA suits until they decommission the ISS, or are they actually going to send new ones up?
No, there's actually new ones. Let me find it. It's from Collins Aerospace.
Yeah. Aren't they designed by a company in Hawthorne?
I believe Collins is, yes. Yeah, Collins Aerospace are the ones that'll be used on the ISS, but could be used. That's Axioms. There's 2 suits right now. There's one by Collins Aerospace and there's one by Axiom Space. Axiom Spaces will be used on the moon for Artemis. Collins, I believe, was ISS first. The NASA one has been scrapped, and now
completely.
And then SpaceX is like, "Hi, we have a spacesuit that will do all of it and looks really cool. And guess what? We're gonna fly it in 2 months.
We have one ready to fly.
Yeah, well, 4. They have 4 of them ready to fly.
Well, yeah.
And so yeah, they're. See here.
See, this is where Russia crapped out. Is they could have built EVA suits.
They have them.
Exactly. And, they could have, what specs do you want on the suits? We'll have 10 of them up at the ISS by the end of the month.
I don't get the spacesuit operate. I think it's that things were were delayed so long that they're now at this point that they have to find an option. And if it doesn't work,
Those 2 EVA suits that they've got on the ISS have apparently, that's the original suits. Okay. I don't think have they ever replaced them in the entire history of the
that I
ISS.
know of. This was the suit that NASA designed that then got scrapped. This was supposed to be for the Artemis program, obviously red, white, and blue. You know, they want to. Though we're going back with our partners together, we still want to look very American.
Well, Russia's flag is red, white, and blue. So.
That too. This is the new Axiom spacesuit, which is from the private space group Axiom Space, which can be used on the surface. And then the keynote about this one, it does not come in black. Black was a design feature for the unveiling to make it look cool, but it will come only in white because the moon and the sun.
Right.
But they wanted it to look cool.
Click on that picture. There's a
Where'd it
white.
go?
I see a white picture up there. Yeah, click on that. Yeah, there we go.
That might be an Axiom one in white.
It says Axiom. Yeah.
Does it?
It
Oh,
says
yeah, it
Axiom.
does. So it must be an Axiom one then.
But it's got the control panel up front, which is smart. You know.
Yeah, and looks like a steak or something maybe. And the biggest thing they're trying to find now, and I'll see if I can find SpaceX's picture of their new suit.
Well, to me, that looked like a tactical knife.
Mm-hmm.
No,
That's kind of what I was thinking.
they've got these. We've got a couple of them downstairs. They're gardening knives, but they look like really wicked combat knives. But it's a thicker blade and tough steel, and it's used for like weeding or whatever. So yeah, it's all around garden survival knife.
So then SpaceX decided to enter the game and just said, "Hold my beer," and then revealed this.
Wait a minute, they have beer in their spacesuit. I'm in.
This is the upgraded version of their launch suit, but this is now what they will use when they depressurize Dragon later this year and do a spacewalk in it.
Are they still planning the Hubble thing, or is they get scrapped? So.
NASA is kind of saying no.
Well, you know, I'm gonna laugh if he goes anyway. You know, just like, all right, look what we found.
Yeah. So that's SpaceX's new suit, and people are very excited about it. So we'll see. It's got a lot of features that are similar to the other suits, but it's not huge. It's not bulky. That's the big problem. This suit is designed pretty much. I mean, we're expecting pretty much that you could put it on yourself. Where the other suits,
which is cool, but I can't see that being a benefit on the moon because you really need a lot of thermal and radiation protection on the moon.
Yeah, this one, I think they're probably going to do like a third version that's like a lunar walking one, Martian more one. Because the biggest thing that NASA wants with the moon ones is that the backpack opens and you go in the back and the suit never
like the Russian suits.
Yeah, that the suits never will actually come into the habitable space anymore. That's what the two new ones that are
the backpack will act like a docking ring. So they back into the dock, lock it in place.
Here's hoping we don't build it by Boeing. I do love that someone asked in the last Starliner briefing, why did it take them so long to open the hatch and come out? Was there an issue? And so the Boeing guy was like, there was not an issue with the hatch.
You know, no offense, but if you do want a suit where the hatch comes off, you know, goes on and off, Boeing maybe the people who build it. They have a lot of experience with hatches that fall off. So.
They just don't go back on.
Yeah, that's the problem. It comes off when you don't want it to.
Okay. Have y'all heard about this plane that had an issue in Hawaii? Okay. And it was a Boeing 737-800 MAX series, whatever, you know, their high-end 737, the one that has had problems. So the plane's flying along, and for some reason, the plane just all of a sudden went into a dive and got, like, if I remember correctly, the number was 400 feet from the ocean. From 16,000. It was one of the inner island flights, and it doesn't really get that much altitude, but it went from about 16,000 or something like that down to 400, if I remember the story correctly. I may be misremembering the numbers. But it turns out, everybody's, oh yeah, Boeing, 737 Max, and go figure. And then it turns out the problem was they were letting the new guy fly the plane.
Okay.
Yeah, and apparently the new guy just kind of wasn't paying attention to what he was doing.
And almost nosedived into the ocean.
Yes. And just to tell you, to give you an idea of how stupid this was, the news story disappeared as soon as that came out. So it like, oh, it wasn't a Boeing problem, it was a pilot problem, So the whole news story just kind of vaporized after that.
I just pulled it up. Apparently, they aborted a landing.
And they were going around.
Yeah, and they stayed in a hold, and then it plummeted 400 feet.
Yeah, they weren't. They came in, and because of this storm or whatever, they aborted the landing. So they were going to do a big go around, and while they were doing the go around, they weren't paying attention to the altitude.
Altitude is only important until when you get closer to the ground.
Well, to be fair, they were trying to land, which means getting closer to the ground. That's
not
actually
400 feet to the ground.
To the ocean. Actually, that's 400 feet over the ocean, which is like almost a submarine.
Soft ground.
Quick question, real quick, Joe. Maybe you can answer it. If not, Donna can. Is it Donna Carly Carlene or Donna? How does you go with her author name?
I think just Donna Carlene, but I'll let her answer that.
Okay.
I like Donna Carly.
Oh, and Carl, I sent you a DM on Discord just in case you don't normally have that open. Nothing urgent, just filling you in on something.
Carl says, just like in the chat.
Okay. That's what I needed to know.
Oh, and I think NASA learned how to clarify that it is just a test and not a actual emergency. They had a briefing today on an asteroid impact drill that they do every few years with FEMA and all these things. Did they say exercise enough time on this image, or would people still get scared? They tried to make sure it was very clear, and I'm wondering if this is because of last week when everyone thought the ISS was going to die. They try to make it very clear. This was the scenario they ran this time, is that we discovered a asteroid, the 72% chance of impact in 2038. And that, it would...
No, okay. Is this based on actual asteroid probability?
No, this is totally simulation. This is a tabletop exercise. But what they do is they make it, like, depending on the size of it, they run all the different probabilities depending on the different scales. So that way, hey, if we saw something coming straight at us, but we don't fully know its size yet, well, let's run all the scenarios until we confirm its size on how bad this is going to be. This gives us 14 years warning time. Is that enough time to make a strategy? And they work with NASA, FEMA, the FAA, Canadian Space Agency, JAXA, South Korea, UK, Europe. All these space agencies now have planetary defense divisions. And it's about every 3 years they run this simulation. And today they released all the documentation that this was this year's tabletop scenario, that it would impact somewhere on that line. Not anywhere, not the whole thing, but it would be an impact point on that line based on the trajectory it was coming towards Earth of the simulated asteroid.
John, we're dead.
Are we?
Yeah.
If it hits America.
Okay. Let me throw up another one here. This is something that came in today. Local. We have 3 local news stations, basically, 3, 12, and 9. This was on our ABC News Channel 9 affiliate. And let me see here. Okay. figures. They try to get me to buy something here. Go away. All right, there we go.
Yep.
Yeah.
The fifth one in like a year and a half.
And
Found near WNC. What's that?
It was found in North Carolina.
Oh,
Western North Carolina.
Yeah. And the FAA have confirmed it is SpaceX's. Not that any of us had any question, but
well, that is SpaceX's. Hey,
it's a part of the trunk.
Oh, really? So
yeah, so the trunk
They
when it
don't-
was originally designed was supposed to 100% burn up after being separated from the crew or cargo Dragon
right.
of the version 2 craft. And lately, it's not. And we're getting chunks like this. We had one of these land about 8-9 hours from where I am a couple months ago. So
You see, yeah, apparently
they've just been lucky that it hasn't smashed into someone's house or something yet.
yeah, that ain't too far from here.
So
Hey, Joe,
yeah.
how'd you like to make a road trip in a big yellow truck?
Well, I don't know if Big Yellow Truck can make it because it got huskified in the wiring this week.
Huskified.
Yeah.
the dog got in the engine.
Underneath, I've got wires that I don't know where they go. Everywhere.
Hey, Joe Dog,
Yeah.
check out the message from Donna.
Okay. That's simple.
Okay.
It's gone. Plus, that saved me space. Thank you.
So something got into your wiring, huh?
Yeah, a husky. You didn't see the picture where I said somebody found an oil leak? That's from her
No.
sticking her head up in between the frame and the engine.
Oh, no.
I don't even know if the damn thing will start now. Oh, okay. Sounds interesting.
Appreciate it, Carl.
I guess you I guess you're gonna hang around after the show ends, Zach?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or
Oh,
I'll send
boy.
you a DM at some point.
Oh, whatever happened to that HallowCon description that you copied for me?
I sent it to you.
An email or what? Discord.
I think I discorded them to you.
Okay, I haven't opened Discord since Friday.
Unacceptable.
Slacker.
One job.
Hey, the only time I open Discord is when the green room is going on or possibility of Zach being in chat.
Well, I go into chat when people are in chat.
Mine just automatically starts with PC, so
Mine has its own dedicated screen, basically. It's Discord and my email are permanently open. For good or bad.
I need a third monitor. I just don't know where I'd put it.
1, 2, 3, and then 4 above it. I don't have a 4th yet, but I want it.
I mean, technically I have 4, it's just the other 2 are hooked up to the Mac.
Yeah.
I do miss having my 4 screens that I had at NDOT, though, when I was IT. Made my life so much easier.
It is nice unless you have a headache, and then it's just like screen bombardment.
Oh, when I was IT, it was one constant headache, but it still allowed me to flow a lot easier too.
Yeah.
What sucked was when I had to actually take my laptop to somebody else's desk, because then everything that was on those other screens just went yoink down to this little bitty screen. And Carl's back on 2 monitors, I see.
I've got 4 monitors. 2 of them are turned off for heat conservation.
I'm down here in my frigid basement, so it actually provides me just a tad bit of warmth. That's why I've been gaming more and more recently. It spits a little more hot air out the back of the PC.
Okay. Test print.
Are you going to 3D print the sign?
No, shit, no. I need it done by 8 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
That's for your booth at LibertyCon?
Yeah. We can now officially announce Eddie Deason as our guest.
Ah,
Awesome.
Long story short, there was an issue. There was an agent issue.
Oh. I thought you guys announced that a while back.
Yeah. If you noticed, it all went away and wasn't mentioned again. Save 2024.
John looks like he's on some serious research.
well, no, I was just reading up. In case y'all hadn't heard, Donald Sutherland died.
I did see that.
There we go.
Look at that.
Nice.
And I don't have an artist guest of honor. I call him the artist of distinction.
Fancy.
So we had Donald Sutherland this week. We had Willie Mays.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And another guy, and you'd only probably really know about him if you saw like TikTok or Facebook Reels clips. The judge from Providence, Rhode Island.
Oh.
Wait, he died?
He passed.
I did not see that. That's awful.
I liked him. He was funny, especially when, he didn't, when the wife said, he didn't warn me that was a red light camera to her husband.
Mm-hmm.
And the judge goes, are you supposed to be warning her that? I guess I was supposed to.
Yeah, the way he interacted with, and the way he interacted with the kids too was always great.
A veteran always got a free walk.
Yep.
Frank Caprio was the name, wasn't it?
Wait, are you sure he died?
Pretty sure.
MSN says he rang the bell on his last radiation treatment yesterday.
Really? Because the thing I read already.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find it
TV
again.
judge Frank Caprio celebrates end of debilitating cancer treatment, ringing the bell of healing.
Oh, maybe it's his cancer that died then, that's the case. That's good.
Yeah, that would probably. It's all about clickbait these days, so it wouldn't surprise me that they put Frank Caprio's cancer dead or something.
Cancer death. His cancer died. Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, and there's a video that I posted to my main page This is how I'm going to die.
Oh no.
Oh no.
An elevator?
No. This guy
Gaseous elevator.
this guy took one of those anti-bark collars that sprays citronella at a dog, to keep it from barking.
I've never heard of these.
Well, they're new. He took and put fart juice in it with a zip tie and it convinced his daughter to put it around his wife's neck.
Oh God.
Mm.
So when is the funeral?
Trust me, it was real hard not to put add to cart.
I've seen the ones that have the shock collars that have the two little electrodes.
Yeah.
And every time they bark, it gives them a zap. Louder they bark, the louder it zaps.
Well, the louder this is, the more it sprays.
Someone message Mark Rober. He'll put that in his next porch pirate box. The louder it sprays more.
No, he has stopped the port. He's done his last porch pirate box.
What?
He retired.
Unacceptable.
Well, how many iterations of that did he have? Last I saw,
5.
4 or 5.
I was say last one I saw was I think number 3.
It was at least 5.
Yeah, but Joe, would that get you killed?
No, because I'm smart enough not to fucking do it. You don't understand. I am afraid of my wife.
I am too.
See, I can imagine if you've ever seen the movie Saw. Okay, I can imagine Joe waking up one morning like that with this collar strapped to his neck, and in the background you hear a little tape recorder of Donna's voice. So you thought you'd be funny, huh? It's
Yeah, 5.0 is the final build.
Yeah, see, now he needs to mass produce them. And
Well, it used 5 or 6 iPhones, latest iterations of iPhones. So there's, $10,000.
I don't think Mark would have blinked.
No, he wouldn't blink. Me? Screw you. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Look who showed up.
Hi. Probably won't be here for long.
Well, it looks like you got a good internet connection.
Yeah.
Well, we can only hope.
I was going to try and finagle my way into the convention this week, and then Monday I got some bad news, so I have no money. So,
Ew.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
Well,
The
I
Mark
went
Rober
down.
video. If he has one ad on his video, he makes $500,000 from one video. So yeah, 10,000 for the phone's not a big deal.
No, he don't blink. Dan, I went down there earlier today to see. I figured you had already rolled in by then, around 5 o'clock.
It's about what time we got lost in the parking garage.
But I ended up moving tables, helping Don get some tables moved around. After I got the tables moved around, I grabbed Don and said, "Let's go."
Before they put you to work again?
Yeah.
Yes.
You just lost. We can hear you, but not as loud as you were.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
You might want to twist the.
Yeah, well.
There it is. Yeah, I
there
just
you go.
packed.
That was all it was. It's one of those swivel mics, and if I move it out of the right place. Well, let me sit these down and get a beer. I'm going to have to go to the ice machine and fill the ice chest. but not right this minute. So carry on. I can still see you.
All right. Oh, but yeah. Joe, you don't know how hard it was not to click that add to cart, because there's a link to how it's only $35. All right, John's going to get a beer.
Oh, I have other things I could spend money on. I'm good.
Yeah. There's his badge. Show him how good the badges look this year, Dan.
He can't hear you right now.
Oh yeah,
you can.
Ooh.
Those look nice.
Fancy.
And the camera didn't even glare it out.
Oh. So is there a good crowd there gathering around now?
There may be 6 or 8 people that I know.
Now,
How about-
have the professional rummy players started practicing?
I don't have the faintest idea.
Joe, seriously, they have what they call a cutthroat rummy tournament, and the winner of it's you don't do teams, it's individuals. They start with like 40, 50 people, narrow it down to one table, and winner takes all.
Hi, Gary.
I'd love to do one of those, a tournament, something like that at HallowCon, but charge $20 to enter.
What is it they exactly do?
Play a game of rummy.
What's rummy?
Gin Rummy. It's a rather old card game.
Mm-hmm.
Used to be very
Victorian
popular,
era,
but
if not earlier.
Yeah.
hence the term gin rummy. Because apparently it's a drinking game. You have to drink gin or rum.
Yeah, but the idea is to, as it narrows down, the winner of the table takes those 20s and goes to the next table.
So it's kind of like you got a bounty at the same time. And that bounty just keeps getting bigger.
Yeah.
And if you suddenly get beaten by somebody at one of the other tables, they get your money.
They take your money, you're out, and they move on to the next table.
When I run around, just take all the money and then jump in a cab.
That's when you get shot.
It is Tennessee. We don't mess around like they do in Texas.
Dan, I'm sorry that you got pulled into a joke, but it was too funny. From the Dunkin' Donuts.
Which joke was that?
I think I put it on the Secret Humor group. Some jokes just write themselves.
You got to remember, I've been driving all day. I haven't checked into any Facebook groups.
Well, there's a Dunkin' Donuts in Cumming, Georgia that says, I love Cumming.
Okay.
And Chris chimed in, ironically, Dan's closer to Cumming than I am.
We did drive through there.
And then somebody, let me pull it up. Oh.
Yes, I imagine you reprobates had lots of fun with that.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's not Ann. Who was that? Yeah, Sarah Louise Hamilton says, Chris Walker, I'm so sorry about that. And then I said, Sarah Hamilton, since you broke the ice and went there, I think we need to help someone to help Chris out this weekend.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, welcome to the Secret Humor Group.
That sounds about right.
But yeah, we've been having fun.
Is that what the police are calling it nowadays?
Yeah. Oh, there was another passing this week. The inventor of the remote control died. They found him at home between the cushions.
Good night, everybody.
Why do I come to this show?
Okay.
I was asking the same thing.
Why
All right,
do
we
we always come here? I guess we'll never know. It's like a kind of torture to have to watch the show. Boom, 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 boom.
But that's to
okay.
watch it. We're on it.
Yeah.
And y'all missed a good one that one just went right over y'all's head. I was talking about the illiterate people at NASA. They live by unwritten rules. You don't get that one. Okay.
No. They live by waivers.
They live by convincing themselves that...
All right. My mic went mute. I don't know if John did it or
I didn't do it.
Huh?
Okay.
And I don't have ops on the computer.
Carl says I'm taking my light back now.
It's for the best, Carl. It's for the best.
I'll take it on my channel.
Zach, could you imagine this show with 100,000 viewers?
No.
Would we survive, or would
No.
we be canceled?
If I get the hate mail for what I do,
Yeah.
you would need a lawyer on standby.
No,
You got to remember, we actually celebrate Russian spam bots here. I mean,
we would just collate all the email into a book and sell it.
really, I mean, like people start sending us hate mail, we rate it, on a scale of 1 to 100.
Now that could work. That could work.
And actually have like one show a week where all we do is like lamb-based hate mail. Okay.
And I am an editor.
That actually would be funny.
So I could correct their grammar.
No, don't. Don't correct the grammar. Don't correct the spelling, because we'll be building it up.
We do that. We actually get Stephanie, who is an editor. We actually get Stephanie to go with the red pencil and
critique it. Yes,
and critique it.
I wasn't going to change it. I was going to complain about it.
I'd pay to watch that.
Okay,
There was a girl that did that on America's Got Talent, that she was putting out videos of her doing covers, and she got so much hate comments that she went and wrote it into a song. And I'm pretty sure she got a golden buzzer on Got Talent just with the song of all the hate comments that she got. And the best part is she took screen captures of every single one of them and just blurred out the person's name and blurred out their photo enough that you couldn't tell what it was. But if you were a fan of hers and knew her comment section, you could tell who it was. And it was great.
Okay.
No, we wouldn't blur it out, because if they post a public comment, it's a public comment.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that was more Got Talent trying not to get sued.
Yeah, if you post it on a public site, it is, yeah. Unless you got something, the views expressed here are strictly, whatever.
The views expressed here are strictly comedy.
Let me explain a little something about my family. Okay. I have a nephew who is a rising country music star. Okay. Connor Smith. Okay. His big song that he wrote, the one that's really popular with all his fans, is a song called I Hate Alabama. I have posted it to Stupid O'Clock from time to time. I'm very proud of him.
Have you not seen our disclaimer before, Zach?
No, I have not.
Neither have I. That's why I'm sitting there reading.
I'm going to have to start running one of those.
What? Is that the first time you've seen it, Joe?
Yep.
Hey, you want to know how to stop the hate mail, Zach? Post something like this that says, "Thank you for the hate mail. I get $15 from my website every time someone posts hate mail." So keep the hate mail coming.
Yeah. See, the bad thing is when the hate mail comes from people in industry, and it's like, really?
You think people in industry would know that you don't want to publicly post stuff like that, because that's the stuff gets you fired 5-10 years. You're trying to get a job and they say, back in 2024 you posted this little bit of hate mail to somebody's website.
Yeah. Well, I like the one that it's a former director of a group that is now with a different group that says there used to be repercussions for posting fake news like this as a media journalist in the space industry. I'm like, what fake news? NASA aired that there was a commander that had decompression hits on space to ground, which for the last 30 years or 25 years has been a publicly accessed way of communication from NASA to the public. Y'all aired it. Y'all are the ones that screwed up. Where's your repercussions? I just caught your mistake. Sorry. I put a big red circle around it with some flashing arrows.
There you go. Hey, do your computer thing where the balloons fly up. There you go. Oh, do you actually have to punch a button? I thought it was hand activated.
No, I just don't remember. Wait, this one's balloons, isn't it?
No. Oh,
yep.
Okay.
Or you can do
What's this one?
nothing. There's different. I don't know what all these are. There's confetti. There's fire. Oh no, this is rave, where you become headless, or just a head. Or New Year's.
Ooh. Ah. Okay.
Yeah, they need to do more of those. Or let you customize them. I wonder if they might actually with the next software. And they bring out their version of AI.
I'm surprised you don't have one of Rocket's.
I would.
He hasn't been able to customize it.
I'm surprised they don't either, though. I mean, Apple has to know that SpaceX uses their products on the space station. They have to. Or in Dragon. I mean, especially after Demo 2 where they locked it out and needed to call Apple support while they were doing the deorbit burn. I don't know how. The guy, so you know when you do the password too many times, it's like you need to plug it into a laptop? Yeah, the astronaut did that to his iPad while they were preparing for the deorbit burn on the demo mission of Crew Dragon. And you hear on the nets, it says plug into iTunes. They're like, 1 minute. Like, okay, so it sounds like you actually need to do a reset of the iPad, but you can't do that because you don't have a laptop. So we're going to use the paper notes and what's on your screen, but you should be okay. And it's like, okay.
So who
I
did
hope they have
that?
a
Bob
backup
or Doug? Was it Bob or
I
Doug?
believe it. I think it was Doug. I think it was Doug.
Doug's the older one.
There were
Doug.
there were a couple
Not sure.
there were a couple of soldiers in Afghanistan that were sitting up on a ridge with a Barrett 50 caliber machine or 50 caliber sniper rifle, and the weapon malfunctioned. They couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. So one of them pulls out his cell phone, calls Barrett in Tennessee.
In Murfreesboro.
Called customer service and had them walk him through fixing the sniper rifle. Which was
Well, I wish I worked at Apple the day that call came into the Genius Bar. If they hadn't done a deorbit burn, that would have been the greatest publicity stunt for Apple and SpaceX ever. Thank you for calling Apple. How can I help you? Yes, my iPad's locked out and I can't land my spacecraft. What?
See, that needs to be
great. Exactly,
that would be, Apple has a long history of really great trend-setting commercials for their product. Okay, that needs to be.
Yeah,
they should have.
I'm really interested to see what they do with their AI.
They should have done it as a Super Bowl commercial.
No kidding.
Right. Just after it happened.
Thank you for calling Apple customer service. How can I help you today?
Tell Lindsay she's too slow. I caught a blur of her going by.
That's because my head was turned.
I mean, that would be a great ad, and what a great way to the Apple. If you're listening, Apple Care promotion, Genius Bar promotion, your products work in low Earth orbit promotion. It writes itself, and exactly, Jay. I mean, it flies itself. So really, at most, he couldn't play Candy Crush on the way down once they waited for the speedboats to get the ship, but.
No, well, The thing is, Bob and Doug, as they were waiting for speedboats, they were crank calling people using the satellite phone.
That's true. They were doing that.
Didn't they order a pizza?
Yeah, I think they'd made a few phone calls on the sat phone. I don't think anyone told them how much that sat phone cost.
It doesn't matter. You're already paying for the service. So,
now it would just be a Starlink phone. It wouldn't cost anything.
Really?
I'm looking forward to those ads when one of the iPhone manufacturers finally gets smart enough to run an ad in partnership with Starlink's phone service, even if it's just for emergency communications.
Now, can iPhones use the Starlink system? Can you? Okay.
Yeah. iPhone 13 or 14 later has a chip that can get the direct to satellite connection. And then Apple just said in their new iOS, it's coming out later this year, they're rolling out, instead of just emergency text messages and calls through satellite, they'll actually now roll out all text messaging through satellite. So when you want to send it, if you have no signal, it tells you where to aim your phone, and it tells you if it's getting a satellite or not. And then if you get one from someone, it says iPhone satellite.
A friend of mine at Science Fiction Convention, we were out and we were looking. It was a beautiful night. You could see all the constellations and stuff. And we were talking about which constellation was which. He says, "Oh, I can tell you." Pulls out his phone, flips this thing on, points the camera up, and it tells him which constellation he's looking at.
Was that Philip?
No.
The Mead guy?
No.
Oh.
But
let's see if I can hold this up. It's gonna probably look weird because it's gonna be facing back at me. Yeah, and the green. Hold on, let me take off the green screen. So there is an app that I actually use on iPhone that's called Skyview.
Yeah.
Yeah, Skyview is awesome.
Yeah.
We've been wanting to work on one with satellites, so you could aim it up, and if
that's
something's
that's
happening,
what they need. And you think Starlink would have one that'll show where their thing.
Skyview actually does show some satellites.
Yeah, it shows the main ones.
Yeah.
And
I know it doesn't show nearly all of them.
Well, I thought T-Mobile, the direct satellite is standard with their service.
It's built into their service, but it's still, if I understand correctly, only for emergency communications. No one has actually switched to it that if you don't have service, you have normal full service via Starlink, because I don't believe Starlink's in orbit yet. And last week, I think, well, it would have been 2 weeks ago, because SpaceX had a 10-day drought of launches. 2 weeks ago, they launched 13 more Starlink direct-to-cell specific satellites, which brought them to a total of 56, I believe it was, in orbit. So they're now going to have Starlink satellites, Starshield satellites for military operations, and then Starlink direct-to-cell satellites for cellular connectivity. Now, they can still talk to each other, if I understand correctly, but yeah, Starlink's growing fast. They rolled out Starlink Minis today. They sent out the email to a bunch of people to offer them to buy their first Starlink Minis. A Starlink Mini dish is now about that big and can fit in your backpack. It's about the size of an iPad. And it still gives you full 4K streaming, 23 millisecond latency production on it. And the promo that they're running now, it's still, I think, $400 or $500 for the dish. But with service, it's either like $120 or $130 a month for just the small the small service to the small dish. But if you already have Starlink Home, they'll let you add that for only $30 a month.
Huh.
So Starlink Mini is going to really change the game for people that are on the road, like Jay and I.
Yeah, they had that mobile thing that you could get for like boats and RVs, and that was ridiculously expensive.
The boats and RVs and plane ones a lot. I've had the roam option since they rolled it out. If I know correctly, I was probably one of the first few thousand people to have a roam dish arrive. I had it in less than a week from when they advertised it and rolled it out, which was shocking. They've always been really fast at shipping. If you order their stuff, the dishes and stuff, it's like within 3-4 days almost it's shipped. But when I rolled that out, it's still a pretty penny. It needs to come down. But I think that's how they're funding it. I mean, each satellite version 1 was $250,000 a satellite. And they were launching 66 of them at a time. Now they're only launching 20 to 23 of them at a time because that's how much bigger these new ones are. And then the big ones can't launch till Starship's working. So they need to work on the pricing. But they are definitely doing as much as they can to cut the barrier to entry. So Starlink's now for sale at Walmart and Best Buys, where it literally just sits on the shelf and you can go pick one up. Or you can order it like next day delivery. You don't have to order it through Starlink. And they're doing a promo. There's almost always a sale on Starlink now. But in 27 of the U.S. states, you can get a dish for was either $149 or $199 instead of $599 because they're trying to cut that barrier to entry. But the service needs to come down a little. I think if they could get to a $79 a month service price, something around there, they could be really, really competitive with other markets. Because ultimately, they're going to have to start winning a market of... They're never going to... Not never. It's going to be a while till they beat fiber speeds via satellite. But if they could bring that Starlink down, there's a lot of people that don't need fiber that would switch to Starlink because it's still fast enough and reliable enough for them.
And if all else fails, you can buy Starlink on Amazon.
That's how accessible it is now, which is insane. Thinking, I think I got mine 2.5-3 years ago, and it was still waitlisted. They're now at 100 countries around the world have licensed it, and it's online operational. I mean, they're doing exactly what they said: global internet. And they've removed if you have the roaming internet, they've removed the barrier that your Starlink is linked to your continent. So my dish used to be locked to North America. Even if I took it to Europe, it wouldn't work. Now it works.
That was one of the problems we had. We were going to try and get a huge satellite uplink and take it to Iraq with us. Yep. And they're like, if you buy it here in the U.S., you can't take it to Iraq. What different satellite? I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, in the span of what hour and a half, you could probably hit a third of the Starlink satellites.
Well, I don't know what it would be now, but I know last time I pulled up, there's a couple third-party apps that like guesstimate how many satellites you could ping from your location, and I know at one point I had mine marking 21 at one time.
Yeah, I know when we went and got these Garmin GPS things, but it was a FM radio and a shortwave radio and the Garmin all put together, and it had this neat little thing on the screen. When you turn it on, it would show you how many satellites were in orbit over you and and the strength you were picking them all up. And we played around with those really well until we got to Iraq and they were jamming so much radio we couldn't use the FM or the shortwave.
And Elon said right now it takes.
Go ahead, Zach.
I was just gonna say, Elon said right now it takes less than a millisecond to switch satellites, but they are still limited to only being connected to one at a time. So I think there's two ways they can grow there. One, can they ping over to another at the same time so you can remove that drop point? Or with Starlink Mini, is there an idea that if you could somehow pair them almost into like stereo, that this dish knows not to point at that one because this one already is? If that, if you could almost could you buy 9 of them and almost have a mini grid and have a stronger output of signal, like bond it together possibly? But that's, I'm sure, a down the road thing.
Because your GPSs have to triangulate the various satellites. So until you can ping 3 satellites, you're not getting a very accurate GPS positioning. If you can get 4, you get a very accurate. You're down less than 4 meters. If you can get 5 or 6, you can actually get it down to like this.
Yeah, we used at NDOT, our survey group used, I think it was called Tremble.
Yeah.
For surveying.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was one, what the hell was the name of it? It was something Wolf or Wolf something. It was a Bluetooth device that you could pair with an iPad and use with ArcGIS software for when they went out to inspect large culverts and stuff. So they could actually mark the GPS coordinates.
I can remember they used to put I think they still have it, is the GPS that they put on the blade of the bulldozer. And they can figure out where they're landscaping.
Yep.
Down to that,
Yeah, they used that on a project I was on last year, actually. They went through and actually kind of mapped out the ramp, and we were able to put in those points, and that dozer knew, once it got to this point, it should be leaving, only putting about 2 inches of stone down, thickness. If it's over here, you're back up to the full 6-inch lift. Just kind of depending on where it was at.
That was one of the neat things about GPS that made land nav a lot neater was altitude. And you wouldn't think about it in land navigation.
I'm going to call a timeout real quick.
Yeah.
We have 2 viewers on X. I want to say thank you and welcome. I think your comment, if you comment on the video, we can get the comment here in our chat thing, and we'll throw you a shout out.
Cool. Let me see. Oh, where's on a military map, they show the elevation lines on hills and ridges and mountains and such, right? So what was really cool about having a GPS for this was you could move up to that elevation and follow it around the ridge and just make sure that you were keeping that same elevation, which was pretty cool. That's for doing searches and finding stuff. And things like that.
I do that on my Apple Watch now.
It comes in handy when you're trying to find something. Like, I don't want to go over the ridge where the bad guys can see me, but I need to find where this is along the backside of this ridge, and I just can't walk there because there's, a canyon or something like, it's.
For some reason, halfway up this ridge, there's a 300-foot elevation drop. And then 5 feet away from it, it's back to normal.
And
that couldn't be from American artillery deleting that section of.
We they have in the military has this thing about the wild goose chases. They send the new guys on, okay, and they send you off to just just silly things. And the one they got me with was a case of squelch. For the radio, I needed to go find a case of squelch, which I knew it sounded hokey, but the problem is in military communications, every piece of equipment for your radios has a nickname. Ham bone mics, dog bone mics, Angry 88s, Prick 77s, KY 58s, and just all this commo gear that you've got. So they said case of squelch, and just something that was okay, whatever. So I went down there, and fortunately, the commo sergeant was pissed off that day. He said, "There's no such thing. They sent you down here on a wild goose chase. Go back and tell them they're assholes."
I was at the Gary West maintenance unit one day. I had to talk to the foreman about something that I needed for a construction project I was on. And they were out there cleaning the plow trucks and stuff up. And one of the new guys comes over. He's like, "Hey, Lemon sent me over here for to get battery terminal polish. Where's that at? Do you guys know?" Without missing a beat, I looked at him and goes, "Yeah, it's in that yellow cabinet over there next to the blinker fluid." "Oh, okay, thanks." And he takes off. And I look at the two foremen. I said, "Which one of you two idiots hired that moron?" And they go, "We actually were not part of that interview process. He got shoved on us."
Joe, I went in, took my truck in for service into the shop. I said, "Yeah, I got a grocery list of stuff." I just started rattling stuff off, and the guy says, "Is there anything else?" I said, "Yeah, check the brakes. I think there's some air in the lines." He wrote down check brakes, possible air. You motherfucker.
Okay. So we're sitting in our room.
Zach, the truck had air brakes.
Okay. So
not fluid.
I kind of figured.
Yeah. I'm sitting in my room one day there in the barracks, and this young soldier from 3rd Platoon comes in, new guy, and comes in and he goes, "Yeah, my platoon sergeant wanted me to come down here and talk to somebody in mortar platoon. He wanted me to find a box of grid squares." Okay. For those of you who don't know, on a military map, they, divide it into grids, and it's 1 kilometer grid is a grid square. Mm-hmm. Okay. So they send them down, says, and again, like Joe said, without missing a beat, I go, well, see, they're in the FTC box down in the bay, and I don't have the key to the FTC box. Says, you have to wait. The FTC guys are down the motor pool. Says they'll be back in an hour. Says, so come back in an hour, and I'll I'll take care of it personally. So he leaves. So I went over and I had my computer printer, pulled out some printer paper, and started cutting out grid squares on the computer paper. Took a Ziploc bag, put them in the Ziploc bag, went over to my computer and made 2 labels and attached one to the front of a box. It was a box for trioxane fuel tabs, just heater for eating your coffee, stuff like that. It came in this little gray cardboard box. So I put the label over the thing that said fuel tabs. And it said, grid square, blank, white, 1/25,000 for artillery use only. And put the same label on the front of the bag. Both bags already had UPC barcodes on them. Looked perfect. Sealed them with tape. Sealed them with tape, everything like that. Sure enough, about 50 minutes later, this kid comes back. I said, oh, yeah, I talked to him. Here you go. Says, oh, thank you. And he looks at it for a second, reads it, and goes, can I ask you a question? You go, yeah, sure. He goes, what are these for? Says, oh. It says, it's for updating maps. It says, and I explained to him that mortar shells have 2 fuse settings. You've got super quick and delay. Okay. Super quick blows up the second it hits the ground. Delay buries in the ground slightly and then explodes and makes a big crater, when it hits. And mortars are rapid fire. We got 3 guns. So if we throw 30 rounds downrange, we can literally dig a crater that will stop a tank, just massive amounts of damage to the ground. And if we do this, we have to go in and revise the map. Okay. And that's what you put on the map and then draw over it. Says, oh, okay. Thank you. Walks off.
Tell me he's the general now.
4 minutes
He
later,
thinks running.
Sergeant Sims, his platoon sergeant, comes walking in with it and goes, where the fuck did you get these? and what was the other one we did? Chemlite batteries. Which that was a joke at the time. Now it isn't. They actually have a mechanical Chemlite with batteries in it. But they had these things with the gas mask. And it was a decontamination kit. And there were 2 of them. There was a 1 and a 2. And the 2 had these little glass ampules inside of it that you crushed the ampules, and that was what released the chemical where you would wipe down all your gear from decontamination. And we had training versions of them that we carried around with us all the time. It's part of our gas mask kit. And the number 2s in the training kit just contained alcohol. So they're alcohol wipes, basically. So we cut a couple of those open, pulled those little glass ampules out. I put 10 of those in a bag and did the same thing with the box and the labels and everything. And we had Chemlite rechargers. And just like people were like, what are those? Oh, those Chemlite rechargers. The guys pull them out, look at them and go, so you just put these in the Chemlites and it works again? Yeah. Says, didn't you know that? It's
First, you've got to figure out how to open them.
They sent this one guy out. They told him to go get a pole stretcher for the tent. Well, he was not exactly a new guy. He was new to us, but he was not new to the Army. So he went to his room, put on civilian clothes, left for the rest of the day. Next morning, he'd been gone all day, didn't show up at formation, nothing. Next morning, he shows up, for PT formation. They go, where were you? Says, I couldn't find a pole stretcher in the military, anywhere in the military. So I decided to go out on the civilian market last night, look for a pole stretcher.
All right, gentlemen. On that note, I'm going to have to leave. But
oh no! Have fun at the hotel. If I can manage it, I will try to get down there. But I would have to figure out some way not to pay for parking, and that's
after 6, anywhere on the street. And
Well, any parking space on the side of the street, not anywhere in the street.
Yeah, because
Just
you know,
smack middle of the road.
I've got a truck. I can go right through the front glass on the hotel parking lobby.
Actually, these will get out of your way.
That is the trade center, and
Yeah.
they do have the doors for bringing they have vehicle shows, car shows from time to time. So they actually have the large doors you can drive through, which could actually solve your parking problem if you have a really nice car. Go there, open the doors, drive in, park it in the lobby, clean it up real nice, and put a sign on it, Forest Gate Ford or something like that.
Win me, asterisk. Never.
Win me, ask how. Yeah. And put a what do they call those things? The little square thing.
QR code.
QR code.
Put a QR code on the box, and it sends you to the Rick Astley site for it's never going to give you up.
Don't give Joe Dog any more ideas for HallowCon.
Win me. Find out how.
Oh, if I show up to HallowCon, I ain't scanning a single QR code unless I know I'm the one that burned it.
Hotel's getting a call tomorrow. How big are your doors? Why? No reason.
Well, I told you I could have got the truck from the Steven Spielberg's first movie, Duel.
That old Mac. Wasn't it?
Yeah, that
Never seen it.
Really?
yeah. Only thing is,
No. I was Zach's never seen it. Which,
Yeah.
Of course, he might be a little bit young for that.
Yeah.
It was all over. It was all over TV for decades.
But the thing is, all I got to do is give him a room and pay for fuel, both ways. He lives
For
just
Steven
outside.
Spielberg.
He just no for the truck.
No.
He lives just outside Charlotte, North Carolina. The truck gets 3 miles to the gallon.
Ooh.
It is a Mac heavy hauler. Mac never made
Would it
economic.
not be cheaper just to rent a flatbed and go pick it up?
It'd be cheaper to rent a helicopter and go pick it up.
That too.
Get better gas mileage too. All right,
yeah.
like I said, I'm going to have to go. I'll
All right. Good night, y'all.
talk to y'all later on.
I got to go potty. I'll be back.
Joe Dog wants to potty all the time. Potty all the time. Yeah.
You've ruined that song.
No. Rick James and Eddie
Waffle
Murphy.
House
really
chili
has
does that to you.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was where
Lord.
Rick James convinced Eddie Murphy that he could sing. So, yeah, that's not that Eddie Murphy's a bad singer. Just it's
Oh.
it's kind of if you've ever heard Eddie Murphy do his Elvis Presley impersonation, he could actually sing like Elvis Presley.
I don't think I have heard that one.
Really, he used to do it on Saturday Night Live all the time. Matter of fact,
I need to go back through and watch some of the old Saturday Night Lives.
he did. I'll
Back
tell
when
you
they were actually funny.
I will tell you one of Eddie Murphy. You need to go back and watch. You can probably find it on YouTube. Eddie Murphy got hit in the head, or the character got hit in the head. Something fell off the building and hit him. And when he woke up, he thought he was Elvis Presley. And he reincarnated as Elvis Presley. And then he went and looked in the mirror and he's like, it's a hilarious episode. But
Yeah. I know on Peacock they've got a bunch of the old. Actually, I think all the way back to the first episode.
what was it?
Okay, the first New York episode or the first real episode?
First Saturday Night Live that aired.
Was that Dick
The one
Cavett?
it started in Edmonton though. Before it went to New York.
And
There
Dick
was a couple
Cavett.
seasons and then it moved to New York and they don't like talking about it.
Yeah, Dick Cavett was on that, right? or was he the host or something like that?
I've never seen it. I just know they had a big SNL anniversary a few years ago, and they were saying a number, and everyone's like, "No, you started before that. You just don't like to admit that you didn't start in New York."
Well, and then it split up and become like you had SCTV and then Saturday Night Live were competing.
Yeah, there was a few different things that came from it.
And then everybody had to have.
I don't know. I've never got into SNL. I see clips of it are funny, but nowadays it's too political.
So the first one they have on Peacock that is listed
All
as
right,
season
shit.
1.
Hold on.
What are we holding on for?
He forgot to put his ears back on,
So still talk about him. We got 5 more seconds.
right? This is kind of
crap, he's
entertaining to
back.
watch,
It is a little bit. It's like an SNL skit.
right? Now, the one they have listed as season 1, episode 1 was October 11th, 1975. George Carlin, and it was the host. That's what they have listed on Peacock.
Now, the greatest show to ever come out of Canada. Okay. You can't do that on television, which was like a kids version of Saturday Night Live.
Starring Atlanta Morissette.
Later, she was one of the last add-ons, but I'm a big Moose fan myself. So that's...
And then Nickelodeon tried to do a kids version of SNL years in the 90s. And that's where Amanda Bynes and actually a number of the main SNL characters now got their starts.
Yep.
Well, they used to be considered what they call themselves, the not ready for primetime players.
Yeah.
Who, the SNL people?
Yeah, that was like earlier.
Oh, okay.
Well, crap, I can't find it. I did a video skit. I pulled the audio from Dan Aykroyd and Jane Curtin. Point counterpoint.
Oh, Jane, you're an ignorant slut.
Yeah.
Yep. That's when they were based in Chicago, Donna says.
I didn't know SNL was in Chicago.
The primetime players.
Yeah.
Oh, the other one. Yeah.
Yeah. Good night, Cap.
Oh, good night. I'm not paying any attention to the chat.
I did not know that Ruth Buzzy was an original member of You Can't Do That on Television.
Who?
Ruth Buzzy. She was a famous comedian back when I was a kid. Very zany. I believe she actually invented zany.
I've seen her face somewhere. I couldn't tell you where.
She used to be in all sorts of commercials too. You used to see her.
Ruth Buzzy was famous for laughing.
Yes.
It's probably clips of that then.
Sock it to me. Dan gets that one, but he ain't.
Oh, Ruth Buzzy did the old lady in the sketches with
Artie Johnson.
Artie Johnson.
And you should wear him out with that purse.
I just that's when I was a kid, we used to love. What is this? Carol Burnett is in the news. Oh, let's see.
Why?
When was this? This was posted 4 hours ago. Carol Burnett, 91-year-old comedian, placed her hands and feet in cement in front of the Chinese.
Grumman
Yeah, well, it's not called.
Finally,
Yes, tell me about it.
I mean, that's been a dream of hers her whole life.
No kidding. It's just like it only took them
So they waited till she was almost on the way out.
Yeah, really. You know, why do I get the feeling that they're sitting there trying to figure out whose hands and feet need to be in the cement? And they're having their little, staff meeting and all that sort of stuff. Someone goes, and they're going through the list of all the people that haven't had their hands prints in the cement yet. Going through it. Okay. And they get down to, Carol Burnett, she's 91. Oh my God, we got to get her.
No, it's more like they're going through the list. Dead, 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 dead. She's still alive. They can come. Yeah, they wait a lot. It wouldn't surprise me that they invite you, but you have to pay for it, Donna. That would not surprise me.
No, Hollywood pays for it. It's a city thing.
For both the China Theater and the Hollywood Squares?
Yeah.
Like the Star Squares?
Yeah, the thing. I'm trying to remember. It's part of their tourism thing, and but they also get the veto. So that's right. So, give you an example: Donald Trump's star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Which
They've had to replace how many times now?
I don't know. Apparently, they've had to put a drain in it so all the urine will drain away.
Yeah.
Speaking of draining, I'll be back.
Oh, well, shit. I don't know what happened.
What'd you do?
I don't know. I can't find that video. I give up.
What video?
The video I did years ago of it was where you could do cartoon animation, almost like 8-bit animation. Sorry about that. Oh, I could mute was not an option. What?
Oh, you said that you're looking for a cartoon. You did 8-bit animation, and that was it. And then a sneeze, and you apologized. Couldn't do mute.
Oh, okay. Carl says he saw it on the. Send me a link to that so I can find it, because I can't find it.
It probably got removed because you didn't have the author's permission to put it on YouTube. Just in here, I was trying to remember all the wild goose chases they used to send military people on. I remember winter and summer air being a thing for the tires.
Oh yeah.
Bottle of track tension, or a can of track tension, for getting the track tension right on the track vehicle.
Muffler bearings.
They would give people a ball peen hammer and a piece of chalk and have them walk around the armored vehicle, tapping the ball peen hammer on the armor. And as long as it made a ringing sound, ting, 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 you were good. If you heard a thunk, 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 that was a soft spot in the armor and you had to mark it. And what they do is they would send the person over to someone else's vehicle because they weren't in the motor pool at the time, and had them check that other person's vehicle for soft spots in the armor. And when they finally did get down to the motor pool, there were chalk marks all around the vehicle. Where this guy? Let's see, what was one of the other? Mike Baker. He was real smug, into Taekwondo, real just from Detroit, just real, nice guy, just real, full of himself. They had him up on top of the armored vehicle, jumping up and down on each corner to check the shock absorbers on the armored vehicle. And which was hilarious because 11-ton armored personnel carrier, 200-pound Mike Baker ain't gonna do nothing to it. See, a blank adapter for a mortar. That was another good one. A back blast bag for a recoilless rifle. The tent pole stretcher. See, case of squelch tracking. Clock tower detail. We had a clock tower at McNair Barracks. They had a clock winding detail. Took place every night at midnight. And the uniform was a Class A uniform, but you had to wear your wet weather boots and your rubber chemical gloves because you had to go up and wind the clock. And it was an electrical clock, and you could electrocute yourself. So you had to wear the rubber boots and rubber gloves. And what was really funny about it was the chemical gloves distinctly on the back of them say not for electrical use. So that was another fun one to send the new guys on.
Now, you just dealt with diesels, right? Didn't have any gas burners?
We had Jeeps when I first got into the unit. And we still had a few gas-powered devices, chainsaws. And, the Senator ran on gas. It's like a steam cleaner.
Oh, so you had the chainsaws and here, hold this plug wire and see if it's getting any fire.
Oh, I'm glad you reminded me of that.
You lost Zach.
Oh no. Copper jacketed spark plugs for diesel engines.
That's just cruel, isn't it, Joe?
You had tin plated spark plugs and copper jacketed spark plugs, and you could get 15% more horsepower with the copper jacketed spark plugs. They sent Friday. We had to do maintenance on our vehicles. We're in the motor pool. This is at Fort Knox. We're doing maintenance there at Hurley Tank Park. We got 8 armored vehicles and 2 Jeeps. We're all out there doing maintenance. And I'm in the short squad. It's just me and my squad leader. Okay, so we're down there doing maintenance. Okay, so everybody else, Friday afternoon, everybody else is already buttoned up, turned in their 24-4s, and headed back to the company. We're the last ones down there. Lieutenant finally shows up. And just, lieutenants have their thing. So he came down to their motor pool to see what we're doing. Decided to go over our 2404 with the -10 item by item. Item number 1, walk around. We're like, so he's going through this, and my squad leader looks at me and goes, "Did you ever get those spark plugs?" And I go, "No." The lieutenant goes, "Why didn't you get the spark plugs?" And my squad leader, without missing a beat, goes, "Well, we've got the tin-plated spark plugs, but I've been trying to get hold of the more rare copper-jacketed spark plugs, but the maintenance guys won't give them up." Says because they want all their vehicles to run faster than anyone else's. It's a maintenance thing. Says so they're hoarding all the copper-jacketed spark plugs for themselves, and all they'll give us are tin-plated. Says, "What's the difference?" Says, "Well, you can get about 15% more horsepower with the copper-jacket ones. And they work that much better." Says, says, "Wait, you're a lieutenant. Why don't you go down there and ask that motor sergeant? You know, he's sergeant first class. I can't. He's an E5. My squad leader's an E5 sergeant." He goes, "I can't argue with the guy." Says, "Why don't you go down there and see if you can get me? Need 6 of them. It's a six-cylinder diesel engine. We need 6 of them." He goes, "Well, I'll go see about that." He left, and about the time he got out of sight around one of the buildings, my squad leader goes, "Button up the track, lock everything up. We're out of here." So we go down. They have the formation. We're gone for the weekend. Our platoon leader showed up right after the formation let out and was like, and it was like looking for my squad leader had already gone home for the day. It's just like, "Where's Sergeant Snyder?" He says, "He's gone home for the day." He says, "I want to see him."
Oh, there's Kerry with his bad jokes.
Uh-oh.
Well, I guess I'm going to have to tell it. My dad was a twin.
Couldn't hear you there, Joe. What'd you do?
Hello.
Oh, that's a little better. But
Yeah, my dad's a twin. He's a Siamese twin, actually. So we refer to my uncle as my uncle on my dad's side. But they agreed to, do the surgery and get surgically separated. Now he's my uncle once removed. Come on back, Joe.
You can't make me.
But you do got to admit, that is a good one.
That is a good one.
All right, I can peel that one off. I've got one more.
Okay.
The constipated English detective. Yeah. England's greatest detective was severely constipated constantly. Called him "No shit, Sherlock."
I was trying to figure out how that was going to fit in with Constable, but
Good night, Carl. You got to admit, they're so bad they're funny.
Yeah.
And now my computer box is empty, so I got another week to reload my jokes because I won't be here Saturday night.
I don't know if I'll be on Saturday night myself. It's been getting hard for me to stay up past 10 o'clock a lot of times, especially on Saturdays for some reason. Guess I'm just getting old.
Trust me, I was sitting here at 8 o'clock and went. I was watching a YouTube short,
Mm-hmm.
and Donna comes in here. She's how many times do I have to fucking hear this same thing over and over and over and over and over again? Joe kicks the chair. Huh? Oh, you were asleep. No wonder I had to keep listening to it. I was out.
Oh.
You've done it yourself.
Oh, yeah, I've fallen asleep in this chair.
Oh.
Oh, 20 minutes to go.
Yep. Zach sent me all that information from Grok. I'll have to.
Now, where'd he disappear to? You got a stream all of a sudden, or?
I don't know. He just. Boop. Well, first I got to get back to my regular account. All right, there's no messages. No alerts. Well, that's cutting it close. I'm going to put this into the private chat, Joe, and tell me, should I just put this on Secret Humor Group or risk the ban?
Oh, but it's too close to HallowCon.
I know.
So, of course, what thing only ban you for 30 days, so it's not that big a deal.
I don't see anything wrong with it.
It got real close there for a second, though, didn't it?
It did.
We don't need Carl laying over in the floor.
This is true. I was thinking the wrong video started at first, but then I realized why you're saying risk the ban.
When she did that split, it was like, oh, okay, no.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how many times that video's got paused.
Hell, screen recorded and played through slow-mo.
Goodness gracious.
Goodness gracious. Great balls fire.
Germany is making plans to order 105 Leopard 2 A8 tanks. Leopard 2 A8 from the French-German manufacturer Candias for 2.93 billion euros.
How many?
2.93.
No, how many are they getting?
105.
Okay, that's a little more reasonable. I heard 5. I'm like,
that is equivalent to $3.14 billion for 105 tanks, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the better part of a brigade. So apparently they're going to use them in Lithuania. They're going to have an armored tank brigade in Lithuania as part of their NATO commitment. So, and they're going to give them the newest, nicest tanks, and Caesar howitzers, or Caesar, I believe is the proper German pronunciation, but I might be wrong. I can't remember who it was talking about how it was one of the Republicans in Congress. I can't remember his name right offhand, but he was talking about how Trump gets reelected. Says NATO says that the tit is closed. Says you're going to have to start funding NATO on your own because United States have been funding NATO for decades. The Europeans really don't want to commit their money to it. So
the Europeans don't have the money to commit to it.
Yes and no. It's kind of one, Well, it's like, Germany wanting to buy all those tanks, of course. Defending Germany, yeah, they'll buy tanks. Defending NATO,
Oh, Joe, have you ever used Super Glue Accelerator?
No.
All I'm going to say is you put the super glue on one side, you spray the accelerator on the other side. Wipe your hand off before you put the two together.
Why do I have a feeling you're speaking from experience right now?
I'm absolutely speaking from experience.
Does this involve the trip to the bathroom that lasted a lot longer than you wanted it to?
No.
Okay, just check.
Almost involved a trip to the emergency room. And not from something being glued to something that shouldn't, from the burn.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it got instantly hot.
Okay.
My thumb is still throbbing.
Well, yeah, because I imagine that it's almost like adding an accelerator to concrete. It makes it cure faster, which is normally an exothermic reaction.
Yeah, super glue used to had the chemicals together, and when exposed to air and pressure,
the solvent would bleed away, and there's your glue.
Boom. Well, because people kept gluing their fingers together and other things, they had to take the accelerator. Super glue is a 2-part adhesive like epoxy.
Mm-hmm.
The greatest thing that they've ever done, I think Loctite makes it, if I remember correctly, is they started making super glue in these little single-use blisters.
Yeah.
Everything. That's brilliant. Why it only took them 50 years to figure that one out. Because let's face it, any container of super glue is a single-use blister. It doesn't matter how big it is. It doesn't matter how it was designed to last for, whatever time. The second you open it and start pouring the glue out, you've just wasted that container. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and another thing that I learned, when you're using JB Weld and have an assistant, make sure they put the color matching caps onto the tubes. Because you'll never get them some bitches off again.
I use vinegar for cleaning around the house, of course. You got your white vinegar, which is, medium pickle vinegar, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 5% acid by volume. Then you got your cleaning vinegar, which is the next step up. It's you're not supposed to use it with food products, but it's 6% acid by volume. Okay. Well, I've recently discovered weed killing vinegar. Okay. You can get it at the hardware stores and such.
Mm-hmm.
30% acid by volume.
Ooh, that'll clean the concrete.
It'll do a number on your hands too if you ain't careful.
Oh yeah.
It'll take rust off of steel. It's what I was using it for. Was cleaning up a bunch of old garden tools. And yes, if you put it in a sprayer and spray it on weeds, it'll kill them dead. I mean, just everything. You got to get close to the root though if you want it really dead. And when I say it'll kill it dead, I mean like you can sit there and watch the damn thing die. It's like, ooh, I'm melting, I'm melting. So.
Oh, well, damn, we've blown through these 2 hours.
Yeah, kind of. We had some good guests,
And to our 2 ex-viewers, thank you for hanging with us.
Does it say who the ex-viewers are?
No, it doesn't.
I'm wondering. Now, Dan had a laptop with him, so I don't think it was Dan. I know most people use X on their phone. See, more than likely it's Elon Musk and one of his employees just trying to bump up the X numbers.
Oh, I would love for it to be Elon. And I hope they had so much fun watching they tell other people.
I want to make sure messages actually were still coming through. So I figured I'd pull it up real quick and send a message.
Did it do it?
Yeah.
Ah. Well, thank you, Joe, for sending a message.
So, I've been seeing this thing when we start StreamYard. It says you have to have 100 viewers on Facebook or something like that.
100 followers. Yeah, it's the new. To be able to broadcast to Facebook, your account must be at least 6 days old. Your page
60 days.
Yep. Your
60
page
days.
or professional profile must have at least 100 followers.
Mm-hmm. And something else. There were some other. There were 3 criteria, and I can't remember the third one.
To go live from a page, you need to have Facebook access or task access to create content.
Because did that affect us in any way, Joe?
Basically, the Stupid O'Clock group on Facebook doesn't. That's what we've been going to.
Yeah.
We're now going to the Stupid O'Clock channel.
Yeah. If you have if your page is set up as a group, so like my independent creator directory group page, I can no longer broadcast to because it's a group. If I had it set up as a page, like my wife has for her Mag's Mischief Fiber Arts, I'd still be able. Well, actually, I wouldn't be able to, even though it's older than 60 days. I don't have 100 followers on there
yet.
So, but I can still stream directly to my personal page.
Lost Saucer. That was the thing. Roosh Buzzy and Jim Neighbors. It was a Sid and Marty Krofft production.
Okay, yeah. I was thinking the Wacky Astronauts or whatever with
The
Gilligan.
other one was Far Out Space Nuts.
Yeah, Far Out Space Nuts.
With Bob Denver and
Gilligan and whatever his name was.
the Maytag Repairman.
Yeah.
Good evening, Chris.
Yeah, hey Chris.
Dawn's not here to do the squeeze, so Joe Dog, you got to do the squeeze for her. Said squee, not dying moose.
Best I can do. Oh, did you see I painted my rocket ship in the back? The silver one? It used to be look like a stack of toilet paper back there.
Oh, okay.
Believe it or not, that's silver Sharpie.
Curie.
Oh, and there is no last man standing tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Mm-hmm. So when we sign off, we're done. John, you will have to pull up and forward the link for everybody on Saturday.
Okay.
Because
can't we do it now?
What?
Pull up the link now. I mean,
it's set, ready to go. All you got to do is just send it to everybody.
Oh.
There's enough conversation during the week on the link chat that it'll roll so far away nobody can find it. I tried that once.
So, are you going to be down at LibertyCon doing stuff? Or you doing?
Yeah. I got my tables. Rich wants me to do another panel. I'm going, nope, I'm done with the ghost hunting.
I was going to volunteer to go and do bartending. Apparently, their bartenders had problems and had to leave, so I was going to go volunteer to do that. But the financial monster reared its ugly head.
I thought KC was doing bartending.
I don't know. Get down there, you can tell me.
All right.
Heck, I can still volunteer maybe for Saturday. It's just, like I said, paying for parking is just a pain. So.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, start closing out stuff on this computer and
Getting ready to call it a night, huh?
yep.
Well, let's do that then, since we've only got,
4 minutes.
4 minutes. Well, we started the show an hour late, or a minute late. So
3 minutes.
3 minutes, yeah. So technically, 25 or 45 seconds, or 40.
Oh. Yes, Donna, it's time to say goodnight, Gracie.
Yeah. I need to find a clip of that.
Which one?
Hey, good night, Gracie.
Good night, Crazy. Okay,
I know what action means.
So do I, but it's been so long.
Yeah, high flight is 2 minutes and
6 seconds.
Yeah.
And that includes your little blurb at the end, apparently.
yeah.
All right.
I mean, I love the little dog licking the window at the end. I mean, completely describes.
That's not what's at the end. No, it's at what was it? Did not get away with it.
Yeah.
All right. Are you going to hit the button, or am I going to hit the button?
You do it, John. Get us out of here.
It won't be me.
I have slipped the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up, up the long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace, when never lark nor even eagle flew. And while with silent, lifting mind, I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand, and touched the face of God.